Hello. All right. Now, as we understand, proof of fund is your living expenses for your time in the country that you're traveling to. In layman terms, what does this mean? It means that I'm coming into a new country, possibly to work, to study, or as a tourist, and I'm going to take care of myself and my family if I'm going with my family. That means the financial implication, feeding, transportation, accommodation, and all those little expenses that we are going to have. Now, that is what a proof of fund is. Where the proof comes in is in you saying, I have this money, but this is where the money is coming from. It is coming from my business. I'm a business owner. So as such, I'm going to show you my business certification. I'm going to show you receipts from payment transactions showing this money coming in into my business, also showing significant profit and not necessarily the money for or the capital for the business. Now, what this also shows is that, I also have that business, and it means once I finish whatever I'm doing in your country, I'm going to come back to my country. That is ties to your country. Secondly, I'm a worker and I work with a company. Better still, I work with the government. They know I'm traveling, so they gave me permission. Proof of leave. This is the leave that they gave me so that I can travel to come to your country to study or to visit in your country. Or I work for a private person. This is my employment letter. This is recommendation from my boss. This also shows your ties to your country. Now, most times people think that these immigration officers in these countries are foolish. They are on social media, they have phone and they know what is happening, and most often than not, it is psychology. Now, a person who has an account whose opening and closing balance in the last 6 months has always been 2 million, for example, and then overnight there's 10 million, there's 100 million, it is suspicious for an immigration officer. Now, some countries like UK may not pay attention to this fact. This is because, now this is me saying this based off of my own observation, the COVID-19 2019 hit the economy so hard. Now, immigration has become a huge source of revenue for this country, and as such, they are not as strict as other countries when it comes to this application. But then again, its pathway to residency or citizenship is very strict. So basically, if you can enter easily, but you cannot remain easily. So that's a way they use to curtail it. Now, people often ask, why don't I use my cryptocurrency as my proof of fund? Now, liquidity is the key. What does this mean? If I'm in your country and I need money to take care of myself, which is the expenses, and by proving it, I'm telling you, anytime I need this money, I'll be able to get it. So they need means that you can easily access. For example, if I have money in an investment somewhere or in government bonds, then I can easily just call my bank to say, when that, with emphasis on maturity. Now, if you want to use investment certificate or bonds, it means that the time for those investments to mature is close. So I can just tell my bank, since my money has matured, I need this money to take care of myself. That is basically what proof of funds is. Now, when you go about putting lump sum in an account, for example, putting 100 million into an account that has an opening balance of 10,000 naira, they will reject your visa. Now, other times, years before now, the year 2020, 2019, where there were a lot of backlogs to Canada, for example, where we saw a lot of applications being approved with this kind of proof of funds. The reason for this was at the time, the quota that they need for their country in terms of immigrants was still very, very big. So it was more flexible and they were not as strict as they are now. So you could just bring in a bank statement and you get the application. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is this. You need to understand the times we're in. For example, Canada has greatly reduced the visa applications, the visa approvals into their country. Now, if you are coming in, it means you really have the funds and then you are able to prove it. This applies to Japan. The reason why people think that Japan and Singapore is difficult to enter as an African, which I'm going to be treating in my other video, is that you need to be able to prove strong ties to your country, to be able to prove your funds. These are the major requirements in most of the countries of the world. They are not different from each other. Now, aside using money in your account for bank statements, others you could use is a GIC account, like in the case of Canada. You could invest in a business in the country that you're going to before the time, or you could use government bonds and all of those. For those who, you could use other type of funding, like mutual funds and the likes. You could use such accounts. Now, I would advise that it is best you use a domiciliary account. Now, if your money is in a domiciliary account, which is it could be dollars preferably. Most countries recognize this. I mean, if you're in Nigeria and you have a DOM account and you have close to 10, 20, 30, or Kenyan or Ghanaian, whatever the case, and you have such amount in your account, it shows to a large extent that you can fund your trip. Now, these are little tips and tricks you need to pay attention to. Most importantly, consider that it is a human being that you're submitting these applications to, and they're going to pay strict attention. Now, since it's 2026, more of these countries are raising the threshold for their proof of funds. What does that mean? It means if, for example, I'm applying for a study visa or a tourist visa to the UK before now, and all they require for me to have as my living expenses for a year may have been £10,000. Now it has increased. It may be £20,000. Canada has increased. UK has increased. Quebec specifically, most places are increasing it, and then putting lump sum in your account will no longer suffice in 2026. See you on the next one.